Graphic design and 3D modeling has opened up a lot of different opportunities for me. This was actually for a government website that I made this scene. This was my first time using Blender here. It took me like 45 to 50 hours, but it was my first time ever using Blender. I have never had a 3D modeling class. I learned everything on YouTube. I wanted to kind of break down some of the important components for Blender and how I would go about learning it. Okay, so first there are a lot of different viewports in Blender, and basically what you're doing is constructing these objects in 3D, and it's not as hard as it sounds because you're building from basic shapes or you're importing structures. Like the structure in the middle was a protein crystal structure that I imported as a PDB. The compounds were also PDB structures that I imported, and then the other things I made using shapes and modifiers. But when you're doing 3D modeling, you're thinking about using vertices, edges, and then faces. Faces are what you're seeing, but you have all of these little points that are connected to each other and filled in as faces. When you're making a scene like this, you're gonna have all the objects at the top. So the PDB structures, the lighting, the camera, all of that goes in these collections. And so organizing that was something I found to be really important. In Blender, there are two different render engines, Eevee and Cycles. I used Eevee. I'm working on my Mac, so Eevee is just not as powerful as Cycles. But there are a lot of YouTube videos showing how you can use Eevee to make really high quality graphics. The modifiers allow you to change the mesh, which is composed of the vertices, edges, and faces, in a non-destructive way. So that's kind of complicated, but basically you can make more complicated things from these basic shapes with these simple modifiers. Here are what the modifier options look like. Subdivision surface, for example, is a really common one, which makes the surface more smooth, and a lot of tutorials will start off by using the subdivision surface. So the materials are also really important. This takes a while to play around with, and there are a lot of different effects you can use and ways you can manipulate the materials, but this was the glass type material that I made for that cell membrane. What I used to make the background by connecting a bunch of different input and output nodes. I guess these things that connect them are called noodles. I hope these tutorials and tips are helpful, and if you want to learn with me and you want to follow my journey with 3D modeling and graphic design, then definitely stick around.